In this video, we're taking a look at Dyson's new Spot+Scrub AI. This is an AI-powered robot vacuum that can detect and eliminate stains and spills. So it will vacuum your carpet, and then later it will mop your floor. It's an all-in-one solution from Dyson. I'm gonna put it to the test by making an absolute mess inside of my home with common household items to see if it indeed lives up to its name as the Spot+Scrub AI. And to learn more about the technology, I'm gonna talk to an engineer at Dyson, and he's gonna answer all of my burning questions about the technology behind this, because this is a self-cleaning robot solution. So folks, get ready for the Spot+Scrub AI review. Let's start at the docking station, because this is a self-emptying, self-cleaning docking station with 3 canisters. The first one on the left, this is for your dry bin. So all of the different types of dust that comes into your home, it's gonna get sucked into here, and this is what you empty. It uses that cyclone technology of Dyson's, and it's super easy to unload. There's a switch on the top, you just flip it, and then boom, the bottom opens up. So you never actually have to touch this dust. Beside that, this is where your dirty water goes into. It's about 2.1 liters in terms of capacity. And so all that dirty water that goes into there. And to the right of that is the clean water. This holds up to 2.3 liters of fresh water. You would have to fill that up occasionally to make sure that it has fresh water. Now let's look at the bottom of the Spot+Scrub AI. You can see on the sides, you have those 2 side sweepers. And then in the middle, you have an anti-tangle brush bar. And below that is that microfiber wet roller. Now, maintenance is always key, and that's something that I would really wanted to really focus on here. And so when it comes to removing the filter and just getting access to the filter, you just have to press that button, and then right there, you're gonna be able to see it. Let's look it up close. I just wanna make sure that people see this, because you are gonna need to clean that filter, make sure you remove it occasionally, and you just have to press that button on the side, and then it will pop out. The other thing that you're gonna have to do regular maintenance for is the anti-tangle brush bar. Just a little switch there opens up the plate, and then you have access to the brush bar, and it comes out actually pretty easily. Now from there, you would just have to clean it. You could wash it, and then you put it back in, because you're gonna get long hairs and different things are gonna get tangled up eventually. And Dyson recommends, I think, about once a month, you wanna at least look at it and see if there's anything tangled. Here's the setup now. I'm gonna get it set up. It's going to map my house for the very first time, and it does this all inside of the Dyson app, and it's super cool. I set it off for this, and inside of the app, check this out. It almost looks like an 8-bit video game. You're getting a live view. I sped this up on the video, but you're getting a live view as it's mapping out my home for the very first time. And one thing you could really notice is that green light in the front. And I'm curious to know if that green light is required for the mapping, because you could see it inside of the app as well. The mapping has been completed. It's back at the docking station, and now I'm ready for the first clean. And again, that green light is still on, so it's not just about the mapping. It looks like it's part of the cleaning. So the first thing that I want to learn about is the camera, the technology inside of that camera, namely the AI detection system, which is what I asked the engineer first.
So first thing is, obviously we have our front camera, which is obviously the ones that is detecting all these objects. And also to illuminate these objects, we have like a green laser-like illumination that is coming out from the robot. It's again, we've taken some help from our stickback guys and tried to use that technology again.
Yes.
So it's really impressive. You will like it from the start. And what that essentially means is, coupled with the laser-like illumination, the front camera can now see objects that can basically brighten up, and it really helps you with the object avoidance. So starting off with the object avoidance side of things, so we have like different categorizations of objects here. So objects that we want to avoid, objects that we want the robot to pick up, and objects that we want the robot to actually do a wet clean on it. So we had to categorize and classify these objects accordingly. So at every different types of categories, we will have different behaviors on the robot side. So if you are having some cables or socks, which are common household items that you leave on the floor, you don't want the robot to actually do a dry and a wet clean, because essentially it becomes stuck. So what you have in that particular side of things is basically the robot detects those objects, avoids it. So basically it does a bit of a circular movement around the object. So making sure that you don't damage the object as well. And then obviously when you have like dry debris like oats or a pasta or something that you've dropped on a floor, we'd want the robot to actually make sure that it has picked everything up before it goes back to the dock again to complete a clean. So that's where the intelligent adaptive cleaning behaviors come through. So once it notices these kind of common household dry debris, it will actually go back and forth multiple times. So basically the camera here always checks and reacts, make sure that it always picks up the dust, and if it doesn't pick up, it will go back again to the same spot, does the same movement, like a back and forth movement, for depending on the type of the debris as well. So if you have like something which is a bit more stubborn, you would go all the way to like 15 passes. But if it's a very simple stain and a simple debris and you just want to pick it up in one go, it will pick up in one go as well. So that's the dry debris. And obviously the wet debris, you don't want your brush bar to be wet when you're doing the wet debris. So we lift up the dry the brush bar up, and then what it does is, again, if you have like Coke or like if you have some mustard sauce or ketchup or even some stubborn stains for that matter, it would actually go back and forth. It works tirelessly to make sure that it can completely pick up the stain, and then it does an immediate self-washing at the dock to make sure that it doesn't spread the dust or the wet cleaning at every single part of your house. So that's an interesting feature, again coming back to the maintenance and the hygiene side of things, to make sure that we don't really smear the dust all over your house.
Let's talk about edges, because one of the things about these robots is getting into those corners. How did you design it to make sure that it can clean those hidden spots?
So once you've detected that this is a wall and you need to go as close as possible, for the wet rollers, we have this mechanism that we call it as Typewriter. So it's essentially mimicking a typewriter. So what it basically does is it extends your mop roller up to like 40 mm. So it cleans right up to the edges. And then it just goes all the way to your corners, obviously to your edges, and make sure all your edges and corners are completely clean.
Just have it on auto mode. Is it going to do the vacuum first, the whole room? Like, when does it actually start mopping? How does that work?
Yeah. So again, that is customizable entirely on the app, Andy. So what we do is we have 4 different options on our app, which is vacuum and wash, vacuum only, wash only, and vacuum then wash. So what it essentially means is vacuum and wash is at every rotation of the wheel, you're going to do the vacuuming first, and then the mop is going to be right behind it, and then cleaning up your floors with wet cleans
simultaneously.
It's simultaneously.
Oh,
yes.
Okay, because I thought it was gonna first vacuum and then start mopping after that.
So that option, we have it called as vacuum then wash. So if you want to like do the vacuum first, then it'll do that, and then it'll then come back and start doing the wet cleaning. So that is an option that we give to the users as well. It's essentially a 2-pass cleaning that you're doing at one go. My preference would be vacuum and wash, because it saves me a lot of time. Because vacuum then wash essentially means that you're going to increase the time, because it has to vacuum the whole house, then do the wet. If you're a person that you want to get through like a clean every day, then I would prefer vacuum and wash. But if you want to do like a little bit more deep cleaning and you wanted to know, you want to do the dry first, and make sure all the dry debris is properly picked up, and then you want to do wet cleaning, then I would recommend the vacuum then wash.
I can imagine there'll be some people out there that would want to do that. So it's great that you give them that option. It's like in their mind, they're like, I've always vacuumed and then I mopped, so I want my robot to do the exact same thing. They're not ready for an all-in-one solution that can do both simultaneously.
Absolutely. I think, but to be honest, for me, I would personally recommend the vacuum and wash. It's really nice. You can actually see the entire technology in one go. So if you're a tech enthusiast, you would really love the details that we have done on the vacuum and wash. Not to say vacuum then wash is bad, but
Yes. Okay. Can you tell me the type of maintenance that someone would have to do with the Spot+Scrub AI?
Okay, so as you would know, we have the self-emptying bin, which you guys all love, the cyclone bin. So basically, that's where it first begins. So you don't have to really touch your bin. So you have like a one-hand emptying mechanism where you can just empty the dust box, and then that's predominantly it for your dry debris. And for the wet debris, we do have the clean water tank and the dirty water tank, but there is more to it as well, because the dock has a lot of functionality to make sure that the maintenance is well taken care of. So starting off, we do always clean the mop rollers with heated water. So we heat up the mop rollers to about 60 degrees, and make sure that whenever you set the robot out to clean, it's always cleaning your floors with fresh water and also hot water, which is around 50 to 60 degrees. Secondly, after you come back to the dock, that's where the real maintenance starts to happen, because that's where the users really feel the pain of like handling the wet and dry robot vacuums. So we do have again a heater where it heats up the mop rollers to dry the mop rollers for 3 hours, 4 hours, or 5 hours. You can customize it according to your preference, and that will help your mop rollers to become dry. So that maintenance part on the mop roller is taken care of. So you don't need to really pick up any dust or debris or even the wet spills on the dock or on the robot for any period of time. So that's where the maintenance piece really came in, and that's what we put in a lot of effort to make it done.
So let's just imagine someone uses it every single day. When should they empty the dustbin and the water and stuff? Like, because they need some type of rules of like, you know, put it in their calendar. Okay, I gotta do some maintenance now. What do you recommend?
The good thing is, before even going to the maintenance, we do have a customizable app. So the app itself will tell you when to empty your dirty water tank and refill your clean water tank. And you also have the option to tell whether the dustbin is full and it needs to be emptied. But aside from that, we do have, if you're not really an app person, if you want to really look at, okay, and I just need to know when exactly I need to do it, the dust box, we are expecting around 100 days of dust. So essentially 2 to 3 months of usage, you can actually empty the dust box. And then the clean water tank and dirty water tank, it really depends on the size of your house, but we would roughly think about like 4 days to a week to empty and refill your clean water tank and dirty water tank. So that's predominantly our rough guidelines. It obviously depends on your house and how you actually use it as well. So this is based on default settings, but yeah, this is probably what I would recommend to the users.
Now, when I did my first test of the Spot+Scrub AI, I was really hesitant to use the mop feature because I didn't understand what would happen to the wet roller when it transitioned onto my carpet. And that was why I've always had concerns with these all-in-one robot vacuums. So I asked Sharvesh, how did you mitigate that?
We have the sensors down at the bottom of the robot where once it detects the carpet, it's going to lift up your mop by 10 mm. So that's good enough for you to actually not touch your carpets while just doing a dry clean on your carpet. So what is really impressive is we don't really just lift up the mops, but to make sure that you get the best cleaning performance on your carpets, we increase our vacuum performance. So meaning we actually make it boost instead of auto, so it automatically changes without you doing anything. And then while you get down from the carpet, obviously the mop then resides back to its normal place and starts doing your wet clean.
What was the hardest engineering challenge in putting this together? Because it does so much. It vacuums, it mops. What was the hardest engineering challenge that you had?
I would say it's the maintenance piece. I would probably pick two options here. The maintenance part, because we really wanted to make sure that users don't use their hands at any point of time. And then the second part is obviously on the one that you had already mentioned, Andy. So we wanted to make sure that because of the height of the robot, we wanted to make sure that it doesn't get stuck underneath overhang furnitures. So we had to make like a running change at the end of the project where we changed our designs and tweaked it a little bit to make sure that it doesn't get stuck. Because for me, maintenance and hygiene, again, is one part where you're picking up dust, but you also don't want the users to carry around the robot once it gets stuck in a certain area and put it back on dock. So we wanted to, again, give that hands-free experience in that behavior side of things as well, to say, okay, we get you that we probably wouldn't be able to go and clean under certain areas, but we don't get stuck. So that means you will always have that, like even if you're going on a vacation, you can still leave the robot running for 1 week or 2 weeks and it will still do the job and you will return with a clean and empty home. So which is really good.
In the early days of these robots, they would get stuck and then you would have to, fix it. And then at some point people just give up. They're just like, it always gets stuck. So you designed it to ensure that it doesn't get stuck so that it kind of operates as you would expect a robot, like you said, come back from vacation, it's still working.
Exactly. Absolutely. And that's where the camera and the green laser-like illuminations will work their hearts out to make sure that it does the job perfectly every single time. And that's and if you obviously we can't design a proper solution for every single household in the world, so we do have options in the app again to customize it. So if you feel like it frequently gets stuck in a particular area, you can actually go and create a rule to say that, okay, please don't go there anymore, and then it wouldn't just go there, it would just respect your rules and then come back to the door. So that kind of customization is still available as well as a user.
There is the option to put a cleaning solution. Is that necessary, or what do you recommend?
Okay, if you buy the probiotic, it really helps you with the whole the bacteria prohibition side of things. So I would prefer to use a solution on the tank because it really makes sure that your flows are clean and fresh for longer periods of time.
Yes. So the great thing about this, compared to all the other robot vacuums, is that, like you said, there's no pad and there's also no bag. So those are two things that people would always have to keep buying when they would have for other models. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the whole point of designing the cyclone bin on the dock. It's one of a kind. You might not have seen it in other robot vacuums at the moment as well. So the whole point is to, again, make sure, recircling back to the cleaning and hygiene and maintenance side of things, to make sure that the users don't use their hands at all to do any kind of cleanings, which makes it a bit more disgusting. So we want to avoid that, and that's where the self-emptying dock is really doing your job.
And it looks great when it's docked. And you can see the cyclone. I got some great shots. I was like, wow, that is so cool. Just makes it's like a little, I become a kid again, just like mesmerized by how it's working.
Exactly. I think you would also be mesmerized by the hot water that is always, you see the transparent
we can't see it.
Back.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's just giving assurance to the users that we are always cleaning with hot water throughout your cleans. So yeah, we try to make it as transparent as possible to the users that we are doing the job that we are after, and you get to see in live that, okay, this is really happening, and it makes that assurance level go even higher.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's just like you're saying, there's so much technology going on there, but we can't really see it because it's all, So this one's a great product. You really did solve a lot of problems that consumers had. The bags, the pads, you made the maintenance easy. You got the notifications of when you need to do it. Like you said, 100 days, 100 days, like that's amazing.
That's a lot of your dust at your house.
That
and
is,
you don't, and the good part is you don't need to replace it. So you just have to empty it out and put it back in, and then it's back to square one again.
I was really happy I had an opportunity to chat with Sharvesh and to talk about the technology inside of the Dyson Spot+Scrub AI, because you can tell they put a lot of thought into this, namely that they wanted to make sure that it was user-friendly with minimal maintenance. And I think that's the reason why that docking station is so big, because I had the original robot vacuum, the 360i, and that docking station was tiny compared to this. They didn't have these self-emptying stations back then when they released their first robot vacuum in 2014. But now in 2026, 12 years later, I think they really did a good job with the Spot+Scrub AI. And so far in my house, it's been doing an excellent job cleaning. But what do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe you can truly have an all-in-one robot vacuum and mop in one device? Or do you think they should be separate? Let me know in the comments below. I'm Andy Barrar, Handy Andy, signing out. I'll see you again in the next video.